My guest today was raised by peacocks and became a mermaid. Stay tuned to find out the whole story.
He's a Florida witch with something to say. Your friendly old sage with a teddy bear face. The Alexian Show. The magic's on its way. He's all set to play, so let's not delay. Welcome to Alexian Show.
Merry meet, everyone. I'm Alexian, and joining me today on the show is my co-host in crime, Miss Draken.
Hey!
So, before we even begin, Draken, I have to tell you, and everybody that's watching, that we're literally experiencing a tropical storm outside my window as we speak. Hopefully the sound suppression is working. So if I suddenly disappear, you know what happened. I either lost internet or been blown away. But in the case that the internet goes out or there are tornado warnings and I have to run back into the closet, Draken, yeah, that was a joke. Draken will take over the show and continue with our awesome guest. But yeah, we're getting the outer bands of the storm here in Orlando. And of course, they decided to hit right now, right at the beginning of the showtime, you know.
I mean,
I don't think we're going to get much, but that being said, it is forecasted to become a Cat 1 hurricane and then make landfall. So if you are a Floridian and you're in the cone, I hope you're prepared. Take it seriously. Even Cat 1, you know, is serious business. So don't dally, you know.
don't play.
Yeah. So I wanted to say that, your public service announcement. Take it seriously. All right. 6th show.
Yeah.
6th. I have a little bit of a cough, so forgive me for my hacking today. I have more analytics. As of this morning, we have gained another 529 new subscribers in the last 28 days, now bringing our subscriber total to 4,500 plus subscribers.
Amazing.
We're still growing. We're still growing, Herm. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Who would have known that us two little kids from Southern Missouri doing drama together would end up on a show like this?
I would never have, no. If you told me 40 years ago, I would have been like, here we are.
Here we are. But I'm so thankful for all of you guys that are subscribing, for our guests, our sponsors, and you guys, our viewers, because without you, this just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't be possible. So tell us where you're tuning in from today as we continue to chat. Use the YouTube chat below or to the side, wherever it is on your screen, and let us know where you're tuning in from. So Draken.
Yes.
What have you been up to?
Making a mess. So I'm redoing, this is my craft room and my craft room. So I've been redoing the closet, putting in like shelves and all that stuff. So like everything outside the screen is a teetotal mess. And then also we're redoing the garage, pulling down old wood paneling and drywalling. And we're going to paint the floor. So yeah, I'm just making a mess over here. That's what I'm doing. But it'll be good. It'll be good.
That's a lot.
So, oh, we got Natasha from Temple Hill. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Natasha. Natasha.
Yeah.
And then Lenore was tuning in. Coco, Florida in the house. Hey. I think you're lucking out with the storm, Coco. It's not gonna, I don't think you're gonna get like major outer bands, not little things, not like the big stuff. It seems to be going around Central Florida. So that's good. Sandra's here from Alabama.
As always.
Hey. Sabrina from East Berlin, Pennsylvania is tuning in.
Oh, and here we've got another Florida.
Hey, Marin. She was our guest last time from Ocala, Florida. She's got her hatches battened down and ready for Debbie. You know, the
Yeah.
funny thing is my sister's name is Debbie. So
Yeah.
when I found out the name, I chuckled. Hey, Debbie, if you're watching in Missouri. Paulo's here as well from Orlando. Paulo is a guest in our coven. He came last night to our Lunasa celebration. So that was nice having him in circle for the first time. Hey, Paulo. All right. Sandy says hi to Marin. She loves your music, Marin.
Mm-hmm.
She does. So I just got back from Puerto Rico. I suspect I may have gotten this cough from the plane ride back, but I just came back from Puerto Rico. I went with my husband, Victor, whose family's there, and his niece got married. He has several nieces, but one of the younger nieces got married, and we were at the wedding and everything. So it was nice to see everybody and hang out with the family and eat. And we have to talk about the cups. So Victor's other niece, Anetka, runs a print business in Puerto Rico, and she made us these snazzy tumblers.
Oh.
And the bottom, listen to this.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
I love that accent.
Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
It's a connected successfully.
Yeah.
I think it's Japanese accent, but
it
really does work. It's got the lights, and it has a strong speaker. And so you can just put this in your cup holder in the car and have your phone connected to it. If your phone doesn't connect to your stereo system, you can play it. Yeah, and it unscrews. Yeah.
It also unscrews, so if you just need the speaker and your cup being washed.
And then, yeah.
I love it.
So we have to talk about that. Thank you, Anetka and her partner, Christian, for hooking us up with the cups. And also,
I did turn mine off.
These logo magnets. They're magnets. They go on the fridge. So guess what this is going to be in? The giveaway at the end of the show. Everybody's going to have a chance to win a magnet along with a bunch of other stuff. So stay tuned for that. If you are interested in personalized printed things, they do mugs and t-shirts and cups and all sorts of stuff. Go to their Instagram, which is located at Instagram.com to Medices PR. You like my Spanish? Medices PR. I think that means your medicine, your Puerto Rican doctor, basically. Your Puerto Rican doctor, your Puerto Rican medicine. I don't know. They'll hook you up. Tell them Alexian sent you, and they'll take good care of you. But I also have to bring up, in the process of being in Puerto Rico and being, with the family and everything, this young man named Alejandro. Hey, Alejandro. He's screaming right now in Puerto Rico. So if you hear a young man screaming in Puerto Rico, that's Alejandro. This young man is a fan of our show. He's 9 years old, and he has been watching the Alexian Show from Puerto Rico. So I thought I'd give him a little thrill and throw his picture up on the screen and say hello to him, give him a shout out. So, hey, Alejandro, I hope you're watching. Okay, so remember, this is an interactive show with question and answer sections, questions and answers. So, Draken, I don't have my cameras right. Hold on. There we go. Draken will be in the YouTube comments, so don't be shy. Mm-hmm. Ask your questions in the YouTube comments by typing them in. And this is very important. Listen up if you're viewing. If you tuned in late, click the red live button. It's a word right next to the volume control. It says live and it's red. Click that and you'll catch up to the live feed, because if you're late, you have to be watching live at the end of the show for a chance to win the giveaway. and I only give you 1 minute to enter. So if you're more than 1 minute behind, you're not going to be able to enter, and the prizes will already be given away by the time you catch up to the feed. So all you have to do is click that red button that says live, and you'll jump ahead. And remember, you can always watch the start later. So click the red button now to skip ahead.
Yeah.
We have a great show for you today. Pagan recording artist S.J. Tucker is with us. I am so freaking excited to talk to her. I cannot tell you how excited I am. But I wanted to also, before we begin, congratulate again Natasha Delgado. Okay, she was the winner last month in July for the Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of the show. So congratulations again, Natasha. She's actually watching right now, so she's seeing her picture, which is cool. All right. So, and as always, if you want to be a guest on our show or know someone who would be perfect as a guest on the Alexian Show, what we're looking for are the following people. Somebody who knows about pagan parenting. SJ rolls eyes. SJ.
Yeah.
We might have to have you back on as a pagan parent. Talk about, being a pagan parent, because it has its own set of challenges, shall we say. If you have a familiar, we would love to have you and your familiar on the show and talk about your magical connection. That section is called Fur, Feather, Scale, and Skin after the chant. We have a section that's about paranormal stories, metaphysics, and magic. If you've seen a ghost, if you've seen a UFO, if you've had magic that manifested in a crazy, incredibly wonderful way, we want to hear about it and share your stories. Speaking of stories, we also have a section called Sacred Storytelling. So this is about myths and morals and magical insights, that's in the form of storytelling. Then there's magical practitioners in the Garden of Shadows. This would be people that are really good with herbs and oils and crafting things for magical spells. We want to know your secrets. And then poets and songwriters, that's who we have today. S.J. Tucker is a pagan musician, and that section's called Enchanted Verse. There's also a section called Crafting Magic. So for this one, think arts and crafts. If you're really good at arts and crafts, but specifically for paganism, like Breed's Cross, or making magical wands, or even making magical jewelry, that type of thing, we want to have you on the show. Also, artists. This would be the pagan visual arts, like photographers and sculptors and painters, etc. And then, of course, we have magical cooks, which is kitchen witchery. My husband, Victor, was on the first episode. If you haven't seen the first episode, please go check it out. Mama Gina, the pagan musician, is on the first episode, and it has the lowest views. And I think it's only because it was the first episode. And so because it's the first episode, she hasn't got as many views as everybody else. So please, give a little love to Mama Gina and watch that first episode, and she will appreciate that. And then lastly, but not leastly, pagan authors. So if you have a published book, we would love to have you on as a pagan author as well. So as you can see, lots of categories for guests, and we're actively looking every month. Okay. So alexianmusic.com/guest is where you go. That's simple. Just fill out a little form and it all begins from there. How's the chat going?
Going really good. We are pretty busy today.
Awesome. So, do y'all believe in karma? Draken, do you believe in karma?
I absolutely believe in karma. I have seen it in my some 58 years. A lot.
I believe in karma too. I've witnessed it over and over. I've been in the craft since 19 90, 80. It was, I got into the craft in 1988. And yeah, I've seen it. There's too many coincidences. So anyway, if you believe in karma, you can increase your karma points. You know how you do that? You hit the like button. You hit the like button down below and you subscribe. You subscribe and you ring the bell. You can ring my bell. I can't sing.
Ring
That
my
cough has got me.
donkey.
And while you're at it, be a helper and share the show with like-minded friends. Recommendations is the best way, right? So share the love and get good karma. All right. Are you ready? Let's bring on our guest.
It's time for Enchanted Verse.
Known for weaving mesmerizing tales through her music, S.J. Tucker is a modern-day pagan bard, captivating audiences with her mystical melodies and mythical narratives. Join us as we uncover the magic behind S.J. Tucker's music, where myth and creativity converge in harmony. Everyone, please welcome S.J. Tucker.
That was such a pretty intro. I'm over here like,
yeah, I mean, complete,
Thank
you
you so much.
transparency. I type it up and then I throw it through AI and it zhuzhes it up a little bit.
Oh, well, okay. Then I
So
get our AI overlords. Just this one.
it's Alexian slash zhuzhed.
It's a collaboration. It's a collaboration. This is power,
That's right.
which is one of the things I love about you.
So I actually first met you over 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Like 1999, 2000-ish at Heartland Gathering in Kansas. Do you remember when the first year you went to that was?
My first Heartland and RIP Heartland Pagan Fest was 2003. And it changed my life.
2003 then.
It must have been, it was either 03, 04, or 05. And I want to say that you and I crossed paths on that lens for the first time in 05. I feel like it was my second year on the road. And I was immediately drawn to you and immediately impressed by you. And I was like, I hope I get to hang out with this person more and pick his brilliant brain, because you were laying some of the path for me to follow at that point already.
Oh. And
now here we are again.
Yeah, I say that to Gypsy all the time. You know, Gypsy Enchantress.
Yes, and I got to see her a few weeks in East Tennessee when we were all there at the same time for Oberon and Rhiannon's hand fasting at the May Moon Magic Festival at Avalon Serenera Dragon Shard, the private pagan-owned festival land that's out in Cosby, Tennessee, which is almost so far into East Tennessee that if you trip and fall, you land in North Carolina. I love my witches out there. So I'm waving to y'all if you're watching today.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, I just remember at Heartland seeing this very young, skinny white chick.
Very young.
Skipping around the grounds with a guitar strapped to her back. And I want to say the guitar was blue. Am I wrong?
No, I have a black Taylor 615 CE, and that was the guitar that I was traveling around with at the time. It was black. Bigger than I am. I still record. Yeah. I record everything with that guitar.
She was amazing. She was like a little pixie fairy running around and playing songs in all the different camps and laughing and having a good time. And I was just like stuck in my booth.
Yeah.
Selling CDs. I used to take paganmusic.com to all the gatherings and I mean literally almost 1,000 CDs, you know. So it was a big deal. It's a big undertaking. And look at you now. I mean, my God, you've done so many things. You've released so much music. Like, truth be told, I'm jealous because I've been teaching music lessons all these decades and you've just been living the life as the traveling touring musician. That's my dream and my goal. And I am so excited to have you here on
It's
the
a
show.
thrill. It's a thrill. I'm really, really happy that we're doing this today. And thank you for keeping in touch with me and being such a beast, being so organized to put the show together in the first place. I'm so impressed.
You have to be a bit of a geek, and you have to have spreadsheets, especially when you get my age, because there's like there's a checkoff list, and if I don't have that checkoff list, I will forget half of what I'm supposed to do to prepare. There's a lot of work that goes into the show.
I mean, I'm so and please enjoy the word seriously, because there's a lot of work that's going into this.
So I thought we would kick off things here by having a little sporadic walk down memory lane. I have a bunch of photos that you sent me, and I thought we would talk about them. So I'm going to throw them up on the screen, and you're going to tell us all about them. So here's your first one.
Oh, yeah. So a little bit earlier this decade, in October, my husband and I were taking a walk during the window of time that we didn't have our baby son because he was next door with his grandparents. And I noticed that there was this just landscape of orange shelf fungus on a couple of fallen trees that were going back to after they'd been knocked down in a very teeny tiny like EF0 tornado that we had ripped through the property several months previous. And I said, that's my location for the next opportunity that we have to take some photos. So my husband took this photo, and it's my favorite, most recent publicity shot that I've got.
It's gorgeous.
And to the outside right there. Thank you. It was worth all the bug bites. It was swelteringly hot that day. And I said, nope, we just got to do it. We're doing it. We're doing it for the art. We're doing it for the music. We're doing it for the mission.
The crazy things that we do to ourselves to get the perfect shots.
Well, didn't my husband's name is Ryan. Didn't he do a great job?
Oh my God. The photo is amazing.
So
the composition is perfect.
Yeah, he killed it. That's what he got from the one photography class that he took in the early aughts sometime whenever he was in college.
More.
All right. He's so good at this.
Yeah. Seriously, like really, really good. And that's money. People will pay money for shots like that. So
it's true. I got really lucky.
Yeah. It's awesome.
So second photo here, this is a brilliant photo that photographer Byron Daisy took, and you can see his credit at the bottom of the photo there. That is me performing with fire at Fairy Worlds Festival, another one that's concluded its time existing out in Oregon State. And I was at that festival as a performer for 10 years solid and loved it, loved it. And generally was performing on main stage as part of their main stage lineup and on their little village stage as for little more intimate shows. And I loved those also. It was a fabulous event, and it was very welcoming to fire performers, which is another cool thing that I know how to do.
Yes.
And that's something that I do get to teach, Alexian. I don't get to sit still and have music students. I will occasionally teach people how to do fire very, very safely, as safely as possible.
Raise his hand.
Okay, you're on.
Seriously.
I would love to.
So whenever we're in the same place again, I will pay you to teach me to spin fire.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. I would love that.
I have a couple of video classes, and I could send that one to you, send the one that I'm thinking of to you as a gift. I have a staff spinning class that I've filmed, and it's just the basic moves, but you have to start somewhere. And if you have that strong foundation of fundamentals, just like with any other martial art or sport or musical instrument or anything, it's a muscle, the more you work it, the easier it gets.
Absolutely. One of my favorite things about pagan gatherings is, of course, the drumming circle at night.
Oh, yeah.
And dancing around the bonfire. And you get to the larger gatherings, and there can be 1,000+ people, dancing around those giant bonfires. But around the edges of that, you see the fire spinners like spinning, you know, and the energy that they're raising, it
Yes.
just, it's so beautiful, you know. And then I
Do
also
we
have a
do we have the coolest community in the world or
we
what?
do.
There's, I mean, every community has problems, but we know how to put on a show. And I love that about us. I love that about us.
I have to share something. It was actually at, I think it was at Heartland one year. I had a magical moment where I was walking towards the bonfire circle and the drumming, and I started seeing these fairy lights in the sky above. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like so exhilarated. I felt like I was 4 years old, and I'm gonna go see the fairies because there's fairies dancing above the bonfire,
Heck
right?
yeah.
Like, what is making that happen? Like, it wasn't the sparks from the fire, because it was out from the fire, you know? And as I got closer, I realized what was happening. It was people that had these bubble machines that were shooting millions of bubbles into the air. And then people were taking laser pointing pins, and they were moving through the bubbles. And when the laser light went through the bubble, it would glisten and then disappear, almost like a firefly, you know?
Wow.
And it was so magical. It was such a magical thing. But from a distance, it literally looked like hundreds of fairies dancing above the bonfire and the dancers. It blew my mind. It really blew my
I
mind.
love everything about that. And isn't it cool to be among people who are not too ashamed to stay in touch with their whimsy
Oh,
in
yeah.
just little ways like that? I need it. This reminds me, I want to share something with you and the viewers. I actually took an unexpectedly long hiatus from performing with fire after my son was born. And he is about to enter kindergarten. So that tells you how long it's been. But I got to light up again for the first time at the Starwood Festival just this last month. So shout out to Jen and Bob and Erica and Sophia and all the other Fire Academy and the Fire Goddesses that are the core fire spinning performance and teaching group at the Starwood Festival right now, because they were so welcoming. It was all joy and no ego, which is just the way I like it. They welcomed me with great enthusiasm and treated me like a sister and a princess, which is so sweet of them. And I hope we get to, some of them are based in Pittsburgh. I hope we get to hang out together before another year goes by. But we're in separate time zones, but that's never stopped me before. So I have high hopes.
That's so cool. I
Sweet
love
people.
Starwood's amazing.
I love it too.
Go to Heartland and go to Starwood if you've never been.
Yeah. Heartland is, I think it's becoming a different event. They had the last Heartland Pagan Festival last year or the year before.
I heard
and I think they're starting something different that still has the word Heartland in the title. And please forgive me if I'm telling tales out of school when I mention this.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll have to contact and ask what's happening.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is one of the things I was the most excited to tell you about. This photo was taken by a fan in Tacoma, Washington in 2008, when I got to perform at the Tulsa Festival in Tacoma, right there on Puget Sound, with my 3-piece band, Tricky Pixie, which is based in the Pacific Northwest. And we play Celtic and folk and pirate and fae influenced music. The main instrumentation that we tend to pull out is cello, fiddle, and guitar. And then we all swap instruments throughout. Like somebody would be on a hand drum for a while, or we'll all be playing hand drums. We haven't gotten together. Again, that's another thing that was an unintentionally long hiatus. We haven't had a concert together since before my son was born. We were supposed to perform at Hexenfest the year that I was pregnant, but we decided I was too pregnant. And then COVID happened. So the most recent things we've done have been online from separate locations, but we've performed our songs from our catalog. We just had to film our videos separately and then stitched them together so that we are actually performing together. We just didn't get to do it. We had to time travel to make it work. But this shot is from one of the coolest concerts I have ever gotten to do, because it's not in focus, so you can't really tell what that is behind me. But what that is the mast of the Lady Washington, which was the ship that for part of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie was the Interceptor. So she was the fast ship that Jack Sparrow runs off with. And she sailed right behind us while we were playing one of my original pirate songs about Wendy and Peter Pan and Captain Hook. And I lost my mind. Not only that, but our fans showed up en masse and freaked out everybody at the beer garden that was next to the stage, because they were all in costume. And we have the best fans on the planet. I always have had the best fans on the planet, and I always will. And Tricky Pixie fans are just that one layer above, because they all showed up in their best outfits, their best pirate and period outfits. And they pantomimed, like they acted out almost every song that we played because they know them by heart. It was incredible. We were hearing from the stage crew and the vendors that had been there all day, hearing the same traditional songs over and over and over from every successive band. They were like, thank God you guys showed up, because you play stuff that we've never heard before. So I will never, ever forget that show. And I love that our fan, Becky, who's also an amazing photographer, got this shot and sent it to me.
I mean, you know, that ship going in the background with that song at that event. I mean, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right?
It was so incredible. That was an unbelievably cool day.
That is cool.
Okay, if y'all don't know, this is a photo of myself, despite how blonde I am, and my stage sister, Heather Dale, who's based in Toronto. If you do not know her work, please look it up right now. Go to heatherdale.com. Walk, do not run. She is at Pensick War presently, so she may not be necessarily online, but she has an incredible body of work inspired by myth and legend and fairy tales and folklore. She is a scholar as far as Arthurian legend is concerned. And she asked me in 2015 if I would be willing to help her put on and write and be part of a musical inspired by the women of Arthuriana, of Arthurian legend, of the stories of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. And when that one asks you if you want to write a musical, the answer is yes. So this is us during the filming of Queens of Avalon, with myself as Guinevere and Heather as Morgana. And we had a ball. It was incredible. She believes in me like nobody else. And I feel the same way about her. She's brilliant. We wrote some of the songs together. We wrote parts of the script together. She rented out a black box theater and hired a film crew and hired an acting coach. And we made it happen. And you can look up, you should be able to Google Queens of Avalon or go to Heather's site and find out more about it. It's one of the greatest privileges of my touring life over the past 20 years that I got to do this with her. And that is the blondest I will ever be. I've never been that blonde before. I will never be that blonde again. That wig was a whole thing.
So just to clarify, is it available for streaming online or for purchase online so that people can watch the whole thing?
Check Heather's website. I'm not entirely sure what the status of the physical media is at this time.
Okay.
I don't know if the DVD is out of print, but I think you should be able to stream / download the whole show, and possibly with all the extras and the interviews that we did together at the end. She crowdfunded the whole thing on Indiegogo, and it got a little bit of recognition for how successful the crowdfunding was.
We do a pagan movie night. Well, we do a pagan social with our coven every other month. And we have the family and the kids and everybody together as a big family. And so sometimes we do pagan movie night, I would love to have that as one of the pagan movie nights.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And I support it 100%. All right. So this is live on stage at Hexenfest in California. And if y'all don't know, Hexenfest is coming up again this October. That is Sharon Knight and Winter's Baby. That is their festival that they have in Northern California. A beautiful site. Frenchie and the Punk and Nathaniel and Tempest are all going to be there this year. And our friend Papa Rene Collins, who is a Qigong teacher, a songwriter, he's incredible. There, and just this convergence of pagan brilliance and talent, like so many of our events. But Hexenfest has a special place in my heart because I had to attend online for the first part of this decade. Last year, finally, I got to be there in person with my favorite band, which I am also in. So this is the four of us on stage at Hexenfest last October, Muses on the Road. Left to right in the photo is Linda Millard, Ginger Doss, Renee Jansky, and myself. And we were performing Renee's song Series of Moments at the time, which has a very Eastern European feel to it. And we were all doing, that's why our arms are in the air. We're all doing float offs at the same time because you've got two keyboard players in this band. So the keyboard antics, the rest of us who aren't on a keyboard just try to keep up. But we have so much fun in this band. We performed at main stage at Starwood last month, and that was our big gig of the year. And that was our first time appearing at Starwood as a four-piece. And we just had a blast. I've looked up to Linda and Ginger for my entire performing life. And now we get to hang out all the time. And I met Renee in 2010 at another Heartland Pagan Fest. And we didn't realize that we could all go on tour together as a unit until 2017. And we were like, why haven't we done this before? So we've called it Muses on the Road ever since. And it's absolutely the band of my heart right now.
It's so cool. They're all so talented as well. Oh my!
I'm here to tell you, geniuses. I only roll with geniuses these days.
Yeah, most definitely.
This is moving into more the lore of where I come from. I grew up in the Arkansas Delta, just a very short drive to the Arkansas River, where the Arkansas, the Mississippi, and the lower White River meet and create this incredibly fertile delta bottomland. So I grew up in one of the flattest, most close to sea level places that you can imagine in this country. And Helen Spence, whose gravestone this is one of our folk heroes down in the Delta. And I did not, again, 2017 comes back around, I did not actually know her name until that year, despite having grown up an hour away from where she herself was born. You can see, if you look at the dates and you do the math really quick, she only lived to be 22 years old. She was raised as part of our now extinct houseboat communities on the White River. In the early part of the 20th century, people lived on houseboats in the river and on the banks of the river. And that was Helen's community. So they sort of had their own code of ethics. They had their own code of justice. It was folks from the immigrant side of things. There were white folks, there were Black folks, and people who, the orphans would get adopted into the houseboat communities, and they refer to themselves as river people. They also kept secrets very, very well and didn't trust the folks that they refer to as drylanders. And the reason that this community no longer exists is because the government, the Corps of Engineers, were coming through as part of the New Deal after the Depression to get the Civilian Conservation Corps involved in building state parks and a whole bunch of stuff. And then the Army Corps of Engineers built some dams that rerouted the rivers a little bit and changed the ecosystem. There were button factories made where folks made all of the shell buttons out of mussel shells, like the ones that you see on top of the gravestone, until plastic came along and replaced it. But for a while, every single military uniform, at least for the Army, had mussel shell pearl buttons from one of the factories in Arkansas. And one of the ways you could earn a living back then, the early part of the 20th century, was by diving for mussel shells and or working at the button factory. And so mussel shells were another sort of very important little cultural thing for that community. And Helen was part of that. Her birthday, if you see February 23rd, is the day after mine. And so all of this is just blowing up my brain when I walked into Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is the town where I went to high school and the town where I had my very, very first concerts as a baby teenage songwriter, and found a book by a woman named Denise Parkinson, who's now my friend, called Daughter of the White River, Depression-Era Treachery and Vengeance in the Arkansas Delta. And I was like, now, wait a minute. That's where I come from. Why don't I know about this already? So I read that book from start to finish out loud to my husband after I got home, and he was cooking dinner, because I could not stop reading it. Denise was a journalist, and so her writing style, and it's classified as a true crime book, but it really paints a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful picture of set and setting of the Delta where I was born and raised and where my family comes from. And so it shocked me that I'd never heard of this young woman until she'd been gone for 80 years. Like, I couldn't believe that none of my family had mentioned her name. I have one relative who had ever heard of her because I asked him. And her story just grabbed hold of me. The reason that she's a folk hero is because of that aforementioned separate code of justice and ethics that houseboat community possessed. And I'm fascinated by her because she really, in avenging her father's death by standing up in the Arkansas County Courthouse in DeWitt, Arkansas, which is barely an hour from where I was born, in the middle of the trial of the man who shot her father, she stood up and she killed him with a pearl-handled lady's pistol. And she was 17 at the time. And she didn't believe she'd done anything wrong because she was just avenging her dad, because that's how river justice worked. And so she was actually acquitted of this. But then there's some confusion as to whether she actually shot another man who was the handsy owner of the cafe where she worked, while they were deciding whether they were going to send her to prison or just keep her on parole or clear her name. And she might have silenced this person who tried to assault her. But in any case, she went to Little Rock and turned herself in for that second man's death, and went to the Arkansas Women's Prison, which is nicknamed the P Farm, and which is no longer there, but the site of which is apparently haunted as hell. And she escaped about 4 times. They never broke her spirit. Her name has not been cleared. But one of the reasons I didn't find out about any of this until I read Denise's book is because her friends in that houseboat community, Helen's friends and loved ones, kept her story a secret. And we might not know about her at all. We might not have Denise's book at all if it hadn't been for a deathbed confession where someone finally said where she was buried in the first place. And the reason that she has any name recognition at all, what little there is because Bonnie and Clyde were at large at the same time. And so our version of popular media back then was these outlaws and these people who were terrifying the places where they ran around. My grandmother remembers Bonnie and Clyde. She was terrified by them. She was pissed when the movie came out with pretty actors and everything. And she was like, I will never watch that movie. I didn't even know about that until after she died, but that's a whole separate tangent, obviously. And I've gone on about this for quite some time, but Helen was a pistol until she was set up to be murdered by the state because they decided that she was too much trouble. So they paid a trusty guard to shoot her in the back when she escaped. And they shot her dead like a dog in the road at age 22 because she was, quote unquote, too much trouble. So I have become really passionate about making sure that people know who she is, and met Denise, who wrote the book Daughter of the White River, got to be involved with the documentary film that she produced practically all by herself with only local talent and local crew. My music is in there. Our colleagues in Northwest Arkansas, Still on the Hill, also contributed music to the film. And there are ways to get a hold of that online too. But the other piece of this is that there was no audiobook for Daughter of the White River, but there is now, because Denise let me pester her until she said yes to letting me narrate and produce the audiobook. So that one's streaming and available everywhere. If you feel like looking up Daughter of the White River and having me read to you a pretty short but very fascinating book about this young woman's life, then please go check it out.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, I'm gonna be pulling that up on Audible.
Thank you. That was a lot. Thank you for letting me go on about that.
Oh, well, it's a fascinating story. I'm from Southern Missouri, not quite as far south as you, but like I get that whole community ethics thing,
Yes.
How
So I wrote the reason I met Denise in the first place is because I was very cheeky after I finished reading her book and could not put it down. Helen got a hold of me and I wrote a song that is essentially taken right out of the book. It's a ballad about her life and it's called Girl from the River. You can stream it on my Bandcamp page, and maybe that's one of the things we should give away today when we get to that.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, here's the the youngest love of my life. This photo is several years old now. He's all mobile and ambulatory and climbing trees and stuff at this point. So this is my son Jesse when he was very, very small on the couch with me and my guitar. And my husband got this photo. It was just a magic moment, and he looks like a total metalhead, and I love it so much.
He's adorbs. Of course, he's adorbs now too, but like very adorable as well. He looks like a little sweet pea.
Well, just everybody say a little prayer for me to the gods of parenting, because he's about to start kindergarten, and that's going to be a whole adjustment for all of us. But we'll handle it together. We'll learn it all one day at a time together.
Yep, it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
So here's Muses on the Road again, and that's Renee with the goggles. That's me with the pink coat and the brown top hat. That's Ginger with the big smile, and that's Linda on the other end with the gray suede top hat. And this is my favorite publicity shot of us.
Awesome.
And here is a performance shot from this past February, Mythicon in Gettysburg, PA, put on by my friends Kat and Ken Ohm Crampton of Everybody Drum. That's his business. He's a drum teacher, facilitator, drum circle leader, wonderful human being. He's very hard to miss because he's extremely tall and walks around with a fez and colorful clothes and a handlebar mustache some of the time. And he and Kat have founded a beautiful event in Gettysburg in the wintertime, because we don't have a lot of opportunity to have fairy themed events in the winter, but they have done it. They have gone and done it. Mythicon is going strong. And this was Ginger and myself and the brilliant Laura Tempest Zakroff on stage during the Sea Mobsters Ball this past winter at Mythicon. Very,
very cool. We got to work together on the Red album.
We did. We made a baby. We made a CD. We made a record baby to help other people who are or are not having babies, depending on the reproductive care that they choose and the reproductive care that they need.
Choose is the operative word, right?
Choose with a capital C. That's right.
Yes, absolutely. So if you don't know about the Red album, it's 19 pagan musicians that came together and raised their voices in song to support reproductive rights for women across the nation. And every cent of the profits go to charity. So we don't get any of it. It goes straight to charity. And now they have, we have these really cool, they're behind me, but I won't bother. USB bracelets. They're cool. The coolest thing ever. I didn't even know they existed.
Me either. I had no idea those were an option.
And so it's like a bracelet you wear. It's red. And then there's a USB that when it unhooks, it's the USB. And on that is not only the entire album, but Ginger Ackley put a songbook together with all of the lyrics and the chords even to the songs. And there's tons of artwork. There's the video shorts that I mixed together.
You did. You made that happen.
Yeah, that was a lot of hours of work, but I loved it. It was so creative, and I love doing creative stuff. I just could not get enough of it. It was so much fun. Yeah, so support women's rights by buying an album or a USB drive. And we have both of those here at paganmusic.com. So you can go to paganmusic.com. If you don't want the physical item, of course, you can go to redalbum.org and pick up a digital copy.
The redalbum.bandcamp.com is our store that's got all the things in it. And I don't know what all the things are that we have left. I don't know, the USB bracelets, the CDs, and the downloads should still be there. It should still be available. And I want to just make a point for inclusivity that reproductive rights are for everyone, regardless of your gender or lack thereof. They help everybody. They help everybody. It's not just people who identify as women. It's not just people who have the capability to give birth. Obviously, those are the people that we want to focus on. But reproductive rights, reproductive care is healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. I know that that's a touchy word, but it's not that abortion hasn't always existed. It's just that legal abortion hasn't always existed, and abortion's not going to stop happening just because people want to make it illegal. It's just that the safe kind that doesn't do irreparable harm is going to stop, because people think certain people who could use an attitude adjustment, as far as I am personally concerned, feel that they can that it's possible to control the lives of people they've never met and the people they will never walk in the shoes of with legislation for which the guilty is the point.
Don't get me started.
And we don't like that, which is why 19 of us got together and made this beautiful beast to raise money for the National Abortion Federation and Elevated Access.
Yes.
And if y'all don't know those organizations, definitely take the time to look them up, because they're doing brilliant work helping people get access to reproductive care. Thank you for letting us go on about that at length.
Yes. I could talk about it more too, but we'll move along. We'll move along.
Okay.
So tell us about your tired eyebrows.
My tired one time at a house concert in Colorado Springs, somebody asked me after I was done performing, which is more tired after you give a performance, your voice or your eyebrows? Because apparently I emote like a Muppet. I use my face. I make lots of different facial expressions while I sing. I got nothing to hide. I'm trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to get to where people remember the experience of hearing me perform, regardless of what else happened to them that day. And that's one of the things you have to do as an indie performer. And there are hundreds of thousands of us. And the internet has put the finest possible point on that. You've got to find a way for people to remember you. And I haven't had a very difficult time with that, fortunately. And part of it is because I use my face, and I have no small amount of theater training. I have a bachelor's degree in theater, and it shows. But I get paid to be me. As often as I can get paid, I'm getting paid to be myself. And this is not to say that I'm not channeling and aspecting and imitating other folks and inhabiting characters while I perform, because I do all that. But it's because I want to serve the moment. And again, I want to create a memory for the people that show up and give their time and their emotional well-being into my care for the time that we're together, for the time that they're with me, and I'm singing for them, or I'm reciting for them, or whatever I happen to be doing.
We're trying to create a magical moment for them to feel something.
Yes. New memories, new experiences, new opportunities for whimsy and magic to come through.
So let's talk about songwriting. What's your process?
Okay. Yes, please. Well, I want to. It's almost different every time, but I get ideas hard and fast on the regular, almost on the daily. So I cannot tell you how useful it has been to have the great privilege of having a smartphone at my beck and call, because it's got a way to write things down and it's got a way to record a voice memo anytime I need to. And before this, I was walking around with with a tiny personal tape recorder in my guitar case at all times. And that's how I managed it. That's how I got my song ideas. And it's become so much easier to grab a hold of those and not miss them. That doesn't mean I even get the chance to flesh them all out because there are only so many hours in the day.
Mhm.
And Tom Waits had an experience where he talked about how he was stuck in LA traffic and a song idea just landed on him. And he had to say to it, can you not see that I cannot do this right now? Go find someone else. It's rare that I have to do that. And
The music is not in the radio.
yeah.
Somebody
Yeah.
else will receive the same inspiration.
And
because-
there's some spooky
Yeah.
stuff about how some people have had the same idea for the same creative thing at the same
absolutely.
time.
All the
So
time.
there's a wavelength up there.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Those of us who are fortunate enough to know how to tap
You have
into
a
it,
car.
I
Uh-huh.
think that's what we
Have a
tap
car.
in.
You have a car. You have a car.
Apparently,
You
I have
have
a car.
You have a good.
I wish I had
Those
one.
blow my mind. They're so stinking cool.
It's trying
Speaking
to
of songwriting and making cool merch, it's very, very well done. So back to songwriting and the process.
So I wanted to say that I do the same thing. I have
Mm-hmm.
my phone at my bedside, and I write a lot of songs in my sleep.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh.
you have no idea, SJ. I have hundreds of
Mm-hmm.
song ideas. Some of them half written, some of them fully written, and twice as many with just hooks. And I have them all databased in the cloud. And I will do a lot of songwriting in my sleep, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and grab my phone and go, and I wake up the next day and I'm like, what the fuck did I just say? I have no idea, sometimes what I'm saying, but mostly, it works. It technology, you have to embrace it.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It's you have to know your limits. You have to set boundaries, obviously, with the tech and being a workaholic and being self-employed. You and I know all kinds of things about that. I realize. And sometimes all I get is one little phrase, and I know you know what that's like.
Mhm.
Sometimes I will get an entire song that just pours out of me, and it's I get everything in between those two things. It just it's fascinating to me how certain songs want to be born and how others will make me sit around and wait for the rest of them to show up for weeks, months, years.
Yes.
But I'm always in trust of my muse and of my process and of my skills. So I have that at least. Like I've already got that as part of me. And I have to remind myself sometimes, like I have to have that as an affirmation. And I wrote it on my studio wall, as a matter of fact. I trust my muse, I trust my skills, I trust myself, I trust my process. And trusting myself is the hardest of those, especially in recent years. And I got to figure out why that is, because I'm really good, I realized, at trusting my past self. I'm really good at trusting my future self. The hardest part is trusting myself right now. But the rest of that comes from the me that exists right now. So why do I have such a struggle trusting myself in the moment? So that's one of the things I've been sitting with this decade so far. As I continue to write more and more and more songs, and my writing output has far eclipsed my recording output, but I'm working on that too. So
that's normal.
Thanks to everyone for your patience while I continue not to have a finished full length release and occasionally manage a single now and again.
Yeah, that's normal. I think that most creative people have a backlog of all sorts of ideas and half-written.
So many things living rent-free in my head.
Yeah.
So many albums fully realized that I just need
Get them out.
the time to produce.
Yeah, you have to do brain dumps. You have to write it down somewhere. And
Yes.
Once it's out, then you can relax because it's there. It's going to resurface at some point in the future.
And also, you have to eat and sleep and stuff. And in my case, chase a 5-year-old around.
Thing of taking a shower, and eating,
And then the songs come for you in the shower.
Oh, absolutely. On the toilet, even.
In the shower, some really cool things have come for me. Actually,
I know they come.
I wrote Glass and Shanty in the shower.
I know they come I know they come in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
but which percentage would you say is the most? Do you get words first and then melody and harmony, or do you get melody more often before the words?
I tend to get caught by the words first, and
Words.
then I have to catch them in turn. But that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's
And
not
I
always.
love it when an instrumental idea occurs to me, because those are more rare just for me personally. So it would not be the case if I would just sit down and noodle with my guitar more often.
Yeah.
But when I do sit down and noodle with my guitar, then certainly melodic ideas flow in, and I love that. And more often when I'm out in the world hiking and I have my guitar with me, that kind of thing. And I'll sit down, because one of the things I really love to do in a situation like that is just play or sing something for the spirits of place that happen to be there. I believe very, very strongly in spirits of place. And I
Mhm.
love to try to connect with whatever the energy is of where I'm at, especially when it's a natural setting, when I'm out on a nature trail somewhere, when I'm on a mountain somewhere, when I'm at a waterfall. I want to get out my guitar and leave that as an offering, as the ephemeral version of an offering that leaves no trace. And I've
Mhm.
gotten a ton of instrumental ideas from that kind of experience. So when I do get instrumental ideas, they are a damn delight almost every single time. And fortunately it's rare that I realize, oh crap, that's this song that somebody else wrote already. Sorry. Oh wait, that's a Zeppelin lick. I can't use that. Never mind. But we all borrow
It,
from each other.
it's all
Borrow
been
in quotes
written.
from time
It's
to
all
time.
been written
There's
already.
only so much you can do with the Western musical system.
That's
And
right.
some of us do it very, very well.
Pythagoras locked us in.
Bless his heart.
So what did you just finish? What project did you just finish?
What project did I just finish?
What's your latest project that you just finished that's complete?
Well, the Red Album is just over a year old now. And
Mhm.
so that one's been in the forefront of my mind as we continue to get the word out about it, of course.
Mhm.
And then recently, just getting involved with audiobook production, and as a narrator and as a producer, that's a whole separate skill set.
Mhm.
And fairly regularly producing online shows, which I didn't get to do live for the most part because we don't have strong enough rural internet where I am when I'm at home. So I had to up my video skills also. I had to up my AV lining up skills and my video editing skills, and just figure out how to be a director and put a show together in advance so that it could roll pre-recorded, so it would be uninterrupted, for the indie platform that I work with, which is called Online Concert Thing. So those have been it's been more doing smaller projects on a schedule like that, a self-imposed schedule, and then also making sure that I have something new or something that no one's heard before that's a live show from the vault from several years ago for my Patreon folks. And everybody from the $10 level on up, and also my email subscribers, will get an exclusive recording every single month. And I find myself sort of stuck into only coming up with something new and only having a recording session to fulfill that piece of accountability in my life. Because again, you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to make sure your kid does the same thing. And finding out that I still know how to do time management, even though it doesn't, I'm very hard on myself as far as, am I doing enough right now? Or a lot of us are hard on ourselves. Like, am I doing enough?
My husband is laughing hysterically right now because
Bless him.
yeah, I
He knows.
have every minute scheduled in my life, including eating and showering. Otherwise, it doesn't happen.
He knows about stuff, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
so I have a lot of things that aren't quite ready to come out into the world, but that are very close. And the thing that is dearest to my heart on that list is a follow-up to my Blessings record, which is the first one that I created and released in 2007 that was intentionally all witchy all the time, from the first note to the last. And I've been writing so much more new material with our witchy community in mind that I cannot wait until it's ready. And it's getting longer and longer is the problem. So thank goodness we have the digital format where we can release something with 40 tracks, Dolly Parton, if we feel like. I don't think I'll do that. I think I want to break it up into chunks and sort of tie it in with the Wheel of the Year somehow. So I'll have one chunk. I could go ahead and release the 10 songs that are ready for mastering. And I may just decide that I'm going to go ahead and do that soon. So y'all keep in touch, and I'll do my best to let you know what I eventually decide to do.
Well, those all sound like amazing projects that are forthcoming.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear the Wheel of the Year one, especially.
I think the Rootless, which has been out as a single for a while, is effectively the title track. But we have, I recorded a new version of it because the previous session files from 2011 disappeared on a hard drive, which was never seen again, unfortunately. So we started over from scratch, but it felt good to do that because it allowed me space to call in my cellist, Betsy Tinney, who has a new release of her own. Y'all, please look that up. She just released a new solo record. And also Ginger Doss, who I've worked in the studio with for a very, very, very long time. But we had a while where our paths just didn't cross with recording because we were both so very, 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 very busy, both in entrepreneur, producer, performer space. But Ginger is on that new version of Rootless, and so is Betsy. So in my head, it's the title track, but that's only going to be part of the title. So just know that's sort of the touchstone.
Very cool. Tell us about your honor being defended.
Well, it's another Heartland story. Late at night, folks are inebriated. I was at a fire circle with some fires, just someone's campfire circle, not one of the big ones, not the Bardic circle. And a young woman threw her cup at me because I was talking, and she was inebriated, bless her heart, and didn't want someone else to be the center of attention. Oh. And the next day I found out that word had gotten around to the folks I refer to as the merchant mafia. And she had been informed that she had messed with one of the community bards, and that behavior was not going to fly. And I was like, what did y'all do to this poor girl? She was drunk. It's okay. But so that was, I didn't realize, you don't realize how sometimes how people value you until someone comes along who doesn't. And she didn't know. And I wasn't, I wasn't in the ego at the time. I wasn't like, oh, do you know who I am? I don't do that kind of thing. I strongly prefer not to. I hope that I never have a reason to do that kind of thing. I want all of us to rise together. But that was a weird night. That was a weird night for a lot of reasons. And if I didn't remember it, you and I wouldn't be talking about it. So it was a little bit of a wake up call for me. Like, wow, I've got a posse. I've got community that would go to bat for me. And that was really early days. That might have been my first or second year on the road full time. And so it was very eye-opening for me. And I hope she's okay wherever she is. Let's leave it at that.
I'm sure she's fine. Sky-clad fire spinning.
It's a good time. Some folks refer to it as being part of the Iron Titty Club. It is a thing that I have done. I have performed with fire, and of course with appropriate fire safety measures, and a person acting as my fire safety without my clothes. Literally nothing to hide. Here, let me show you with fire.
Only clad by the sky.
Yes.
Sky
and
clad.
My first performance at any pagan festival ever, the whole crowd was sky clad because it was disgustingly hot, and it was in the Missouri Ozarks. Mm-hmm. So you know exactly the disgustingly hot that I'm talking about. But it was after dark, and we were still dying in the sweat. So I really, from that point forward, before I ever even went on the road full time, I never had to imagine the crowd in their underwear. My community did that for me. They were like, nope, you don't need to do that to get rid of your nervous jitters. You just, you've already got a naked crowd. Just go with it. I'm like, okay, let's do this.
It's funny because I've been to gatherings that were skyclad and met some wonderful people, and then ran into them in the grocery store clothed, and I'm like, who are you? You don't recognize them because they have clothes on, it's funny.
That first trip to the grocery store after a festival is always really strange. Like
it's very painful.
You got to reacclimate because I can't
mundanality.
It's better now with successive generations coming up that are a little more compassionate in a lot of ways, that we're not necessarily as shy about telling each other the good things that we see. But at first in my early years on the road, performing at festival after festival after festival, which I always loved and always will whenever I get to do it. Like, I can't necessarily tell this person that I think she looks amazing in the grocery store because I'm not at festival anymore. And I don't want to make it weird. Isn't that sad?
Yeah. No, I completely understand. So I'm really interested to understand about this black hole epiphany that you've had.
Well, this story, this is one I get to tell at interviews a lot. So those of you who know it, just bear with us here. When I sort of decided that it was time to take the jump, hit the road, and start this little career of mine almost exactly 20 years ago, as we sit today in 2020. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee. So that was my performer's point of origin, my entrepreneurial point of origin, my geographical point of origin. I was going back and forth to recording sessions at Young Avenue Sound in the Cooper Young district in Memphis. Wonderful place, wonderful people to work with. I produced a record and a half there in my early career. I was driving from my day job at the time to my recording session for that day, that week. And I'm listening to Earth and Sky on NPR, as one does. They had a segment about scientists in Cambridge who had uncovered, and there's been so much of this since then. This was 21 years ago when I was hearing this. Scientists from Cambridge had uncovered new information about a black hole in the Perseus galaxy. They had figured out how to measure the pitch that this black hole had been singing for a really long time in Western music terms that we could understand. So they took the frequency, they put it in terms of the scale on the piano, and they discovered that this black hole was singing B flat. And if y'all don't know from the notes on the scale, get somebody to show you middle C on the piano, and the black piano key just of middle C is a B flat. Now, in the case of this black hole, it's B flat 52 octaves below middle C, so we cannot necessarily ever hear what it really sounds like. But you're not going to hear what a black hole sounds like if you get close enough, because if you get close enough, you're going to be sucked into it, and that's the end. That was the first. My first brush with things like string theory, and that science is actively studying and proving that you can put vast entities in the cosmos in terms of the musical scale that we've been around for our entire lives. And it blew my mind. I was so excited I went off the road because that was the first proof that I ever experienced that music could be said to be part of everything, which is something that I knew in my little witchy soul. Everything. At the time, I was studying with Summerlin Grove Pagan Church, which is still active in that part of Tennessee. And I was going to what they called realm classes, which is things that like how to get your brain right, how to let go of the previous life path that you were on, religion-wise, spirituality-wise. And if you want to go all the way through it, then you go into clergy training, if you feel like it. And so I was studying in at the time, the second of 5. And one of the focuses of that section of the way that they teach their classes is helping you figure out what you want your spiritual path to be, what you want the focus of your magical practice to be, that kind of stuff. And I thought it was something completely else because it hadn't even occurred to me that I could put my music and my magic together. And that was the day, that was the moment that changed for me. And I realized, yes, I can have those two things be part of the same experience and all part of my practice, part of how I perform, part of how I work with spirituality, part of how I work with magic. And yeah, so that turned my life completely around and set me on the path I really, really wanted to be, but didn't know that I. So yay,
Yeah.
science. Yay, science. Up and creativity.
It's amazing. Metaphysics and quantum physics. I'm always saying this. They're saying the same things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're saying the same things. It's the same thing, but just different language.
Yep.
Everything is vibrating. Everything. Science
Mhm.
teaches us this, and you can relate that to the musical scale. Absolutely. I teach a whole workshop on, vibration and magic and all of that stuff. So like, I'm just all over that. I'm very geeky about that stuff. And so it's, you said Perseus, the Perseus galaxy.
Yes. And I just read an article the other day, and I've got to send it to you, in Nautilus magazine online, about a group of astronomers and astronomy researchers who figured out how to simulate the sounds that a star would make, that a certain star would make. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew it. It's just the same thing coming back around.
I have to say
tears springing to my eyes.
Again, a dream. I do a lot of work in my dreams. My mom had it and I have it. I inherited that gene, whatever it is. But I had this crazy dream about the universe itself. And I popped out of the universe and I saw the universe as an entity unto itself. And there was deity or an angel or something next to me explaining it to me. And this is the crazy part. This is like, I mean, Victor, my husband, we've been together for over 30 years now. And this had to have been at least 20, 25 years ago. It was a long time ago. And I woke up from the dream and I drew pictures, and I have since scanned those pictures and saved them in the cloud. But the universe is a donut. And it was just the weirdest thing that the universe is a donut. And now, fast forward, they're starting to say that in quantum physics and science, that the universe may be donut shaped and not just this cone that exploded. The Big Bang theory and everything, and string theory, who knows what it is, but like this expansion thing, it goes out, it comes back around, comes back in through the bottom and comes back up and is reborn again. So it's a cyclic thing. The universe is constantly being recreated. Whoops, I think I lost SJ. I'm the one that's having the storm. Okay, well, until she comes back, we will just talk for a moment. But yeah, that is literally a dream that I had, and I was blown away by that. And then Victor was hearing this on the TV show or a radio show and told me about it, and now they're actually talking about this. So if you Google the universe and donut shaped, you'll see what I'm talking about, which is blowing my mind, that they're actually talking about this shape now in science itself. I think she's coming back in. Did you forget to plug in your laptop?
I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
The cosmos wanted to have a word, perhaps.
String theory's like, no, it's not a donut shape. All right, so we're going to move along. Let's get to your lyrics. So you have 2 songs today that you're going to share with us for Enchanted Verse. And the first one is The Devil at the Door. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, take it away.
How would you like to do this? Shall I give a recitation?
Yes, you're going to recitate.
Okay, I will recitative.
Here we go.
And recitate and recite. 642 and the devil overdue. Sing for your life and your reputation too. You're unfit because you went back to work or you let the baby cry. One little thing goes wrong and you're disqualified. Shut him down for your freedom. Tune him out. Keep your soul in your freedom. That's the dream. Devil comes when you need him, child. 643 and they never let you be. Spitting nails, splitting hairs to avoid equality. Clutching pearls anytime something better comes to be. When they say you're bound for hell, well, tell them you're the queen. Shut them out for your soul and your freedom. Turn them off. Keep your soul and your freedom. That's the dream. Devil come in, child. 644 and the devil at the door. They'll say you're a freak, you're a foundling, a sorceress, a whore. Well, not a shock, because you know that have said it anyway. This is the version without the F-bomb, I should have said. Not a shock, because you know that have said it anyway. Tune it out, turn it off, kiss the baby, start the day. Shut him down for your soul and your freedom. Tune him out, keep your soul and your freedom. Tell the devil that you're not going to need him. Shut him down for your soul and your freedom. Vote him out. Keep your soul and your freedom. Tell the devil that you're not going to need him, child. Thank you.
Yes. Vote them out.
Please. Enough already with the people that are obsessed with wombs. Can we all stop being obsessed with wombs? Thank you. Enough. Enough. That's my Red Album song.
Yes, that is your Red Album song, which is amazing. If you haven't heard it, you have to go check it out.
Thank you.
Trickster Prayer is the next one you chose. All right, let's hear that.
One of my very, very favorites of the hundreds and the hundreds that I've written. This one that exists because of a songwriter group challenge that I was part of for many, many delightful years. It's one of the reasons that I have more songs than I've been able to record that I like, that are finished. Joker's wild, cloudy skies, lights go down, new sunrise, temple burns, mother's weep, trickster, garden.
That's an interesting pose that she froze in, isn't it? Well, I think she's disconnecting again. We'll have to wait for her to come back, and I'll let her start that one over again. Please bear with us while she regains her internet connection. Okay, she's back.
I don't know what's going on, man. Okay, rules to break, vows to keep, trickster guard my fitful sleep, poker face, sucker punch, amazing grace, naked lunch, battle star, quantum leap, trickster guard my fitful sleep, spider song, rabbit silk, jackal purr, raven's milk, fairy tales softly creep, trickster guard my fitful sleep. I know you've been as gentle as you can, in sleeping or in waking. I'll keep my courage very close at hand and pretend I am unbreakable. Heavy crown, thistledown, wicked smile, silly frown. Love's embrace, no mistake. Trickster guide me when I wake. Cuddle tight, kill the light, bring the love and not the fight. Morning coffee, evening tears, trickster please stay right here. I know you'll be as gentle as you can, and I'll be at my bravest. Stick to the road, follow all the plan, no matter how it changes.
Wow.
I love that song. I love singing that song. I love getting to share the lyrics in that way. I think that's the first time I've gotten to do that.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? It brings a whole different vibe, right? When you just hear the words only, right?
And I'm a wordy critter. So that was fun for me.
Yeah.
To give it just the words, just that clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So tell us and the viewers where they can find your offerings.
Well, you're all welcome at sjtucker.com always. My Bandcamp store where you can order merch is sjtucker.bandcamp.com. And I have a new item there which is a USB drive with all my music, all the things I could think of to put on there, and everything that I've ever released, including some stuff that's not released yet. With that new version of Rootless that I mentioned earlier is on there, just for 2024. This was a total experiment. I've never offered these previously, but with the encouragement of some colleagues that were like, "You're going to sell a crap ton of these." I have to tell you, they were right. I ordered 100 of these printed. I loaded all the data onto them myself. It's 2.5 gigs of MP3 files, including everything I've ever released, physically or digitally, and some stuff that I've never made available except at live shows. And even those things haven't been available for a period of time. And then there are just a few unreleased goodies on there in addition, just to sweeten it. And that's the newest thing I have to offer in the physical merch. All the digital merch is available to you to stream and check out. And I'm on all of the streams. I'm on all the streaming places. So if you like to dip your toes in the stream to get your music, just look up my name and you should find me there. I don't have a lot of live appearances coming up because I'm keeping things sparsely scheduled because my little boy's about to start kindergarten, and I've been on some health adventures this year. Some of my worst nightmares and wildest dreams have come true in the space of a year. So that means a little bit less touring, but it's totally fine. Maybe I'll actually get an album finished and ready to release for y'all as a consequence of that. But I do get to do an online show for the first time next month at onlineconcertthing.com. I have the tickets available very soon in honor of my friend Kat Harrington's new chapbook of poetry, which is called A Map Without Your Shadow. Kat and I have shared online performances before where she will share poems of hers and I will share original songs of mine that are, so they sort of, we do it as a foil from the one to the other. One inspires the next thing. And we concoct the set list ahead of time. We have meetings about it. She's a Taurus in that way. So we're very well prepared when we do this kind of thing together. We're going to be filming it mostly separately, but we're going to try to film some of it together side by side if I can get out to see her in New Mexico. And that'll be at onlineconcertthing.com on September 15th at 2 p.m. Central Time. So again, that's the website. That's what to put on your calendar. We'll have the tickets available very soon. And the next live thing that I get to do, sure, that's public, is Nashville Pagan Pride on October the 5th. And that'll be an all-day event in Nashville. I've played Pagan Pride before. It was actually one of the very first Pagan Prides that ever hired me as a performer 20 years ago. So I'm really feeling a lot of warm fuzzies about going back there to do that same event.
Very cool. Well, SJ has donated a download code for the pre-release of Rootless Record Bundle. You want to talk about that for a second?
I don't even remember what that is, actually.
If you need to change it, that's fine.
Yeah, let's retract that. Let's retract that because I have no memory of that, and so please blame radiation therapy brain and mommy brain on that if y'all want to. I'm very, very sorry, Alexian, and I'm sorry to everyone watching also. I would love to offer 2 download codes to y'all. Since we mentioned Girl from the River song, let's give away a download code for that. And let's also give away a download code for Trickster Prayer because I love it so much.
Okay. So there you go. That is going to be in the drawing coming up very quickly here in just a couple of minutes at the end of the show. How are we going to bring more magic into the world? How are we going to help people regain their sense of wonder?
I love this question because that's all I want. And I love to be the best living example that I possibly can for that. A few days ago, I was in town for a medical appointment, and I love to dress up cute for those kind of things because the radiology techs that I get to see several times a week, as I'm completing my oncology adventure, I'm almost done. I'm in the home stretch now, y'all. I'm totally fine, and everyone's experience with breast cancer is different. Mine has been very gentle, as far as I can tell, compared to what some of my friends and loved ones and colleagues have been through. Just yesterday lost the person who gave me my first tarot deck, a family friend. Her name was Miss Ross. So much love to the memory of Miss Agnes. She did not defeat breast cancer.
Mm.
It took her from us yesterday. And she gave me my very first tarot deck when I was 14 years old. And she's celebrated by her grown children that I've all considered my friends. So much love to the memory of Miss Agnes and her family, who are celebrating her life as best they can in this time of loss. So yeah, I like to dress cute, and that means a lot of color. And I had cute shoes, that kind of thing. I had iridescent June bug colored boots on, and leggings with dragon scale motif that were sort of a blue-green color thing going on. And I had a woman in the craft store look at me, and she meant it as a compliment, I know. But she said, "I can tell you're a mermaid freak. You're cute, though." And it took me a second, because that is the exact kind of language that is rooted in my public trauma, where people would say a nice thing and then laugh and point behind my back when I was very young, and then up into junior high and high school, that crucible that all is. So I like to make the outside match the inside, and that doesn't work for all of us, obviously, but it's a thing that works for me. And one of my awesome radio that I mentioned, she described herself to me as a plain Jane. And I said, you know what, if that makes you happy and that's what you need, then who cares? And she's also the one that compliments me anytime I walk in there. Cute. So it's become a thing. But I had that outfit on because I had gone to that appointment before I went to the craft store to pick up an order that I made. And I realized that not everybody can handle it if you walk in and you are bouncy. But I'm going to keep doing it for the people that can handle it and the people that do need it. And that's going to go, that's a theme in my work also. And I'm grateful for the ability to keep that up too. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all those things.
You have to be yourself. Yeah. If anybody is struggling to find their way in life and wants a little bit of, magic and sense of wonder back in their life, I always tell people the best way to begin is to find your sense of purpose. Why are you here on this planet? And that's not an easy question to answer. It took me years to figure it out myself, but I realized that I am a teacher and a healer, and I do that through my music and the craft and magic, through witchcraft and Wicca.
Right.
And I give my all to help others attain a sense of self and find the light within inside themselves. That's all it's about, guys, is helping each other and discover and explore all of the possibilities that life has to offer. That's why we're here. It's that simple.
Saying yes counts for a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't mean break your own boundaries. I mean, if something looks really, really cool, but it scares you at the same time, consider making the choice for the that seems cool instead of letting your fear be in control of you.
That's right.
'Cause you
Courage
never know.
is being afraid, but doing it anyway.
Anyway, yes. Thank you, Space Mom.
Yeah.
I know that's Carrie Fisher said something similar.
Yeah.
And she referred to
Absolutely.
herself as Space Mom, or at least the fans referred to her as Space Mom. And
So
that's what happened to me with that songwriting group that Trickster Prayer was a direct result of. I said yes to something that scared me, which was a challenge to see if you could write a new song every single week for a year. And there's precedent for that's come about since. This was just a tiny group of 30 people that on Google Groups in Gmail agreed that we would all turn something in every week, even if it wasn't very good. we would just try to get it done on time. We use the assignment that was given to us by the moderator and do what we could. I didn't know if I could write a song a week, but I wanted to try. Scared the crap out of me, did it anyway, and I loved it. I loved
love
it.
that.
And I have so many songs that came from that I am completely in love with, and a lot of them are witchy as hell. And I cannot wait for y'all to hear the ones that I haven't released yet.
That's awesome. Well, let's bring Draken back on. Do we have any questions?
We do, but I got a quick comment of my own. Ginger and Linda are going to be here in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they are.
This Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I've not seen them before. So
I know where you're going to be.
Please
now
go.
I'm really
Everybody, please go.
So
No, they're amazing.
The foremost rock stars of my world. Seriously, I have my Ginger Dolls tank top on right now.
oh, nice. I'll tell them you said hi.
No, they rock.
Yeah, I can't wait. So I actually do have a question, and this is an interesting question. Melissa Anderson asked, what do you feel about the new AI programs? And I assume she means, along with writing music. I'm just inferring.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I am not engaging with AI as a songwriter particularly, because I've got so much going on in my own head. I would like to not be replaced by doesn't have a human engine behind it. And I know a lot of us feel strongly about that. I don't want to discount it as a tool that could be put to beautiful use. And I know that there's the reason that we have the last Beatles single ever, which just came out, that song called Now and Then, is because of machine learning how to isolate John Lennon's little demo that he recorded of the song before he died, to separate the piano from his voice, which we couldn't do until the technology caught up with our wanting to do that. Like, you could not separate the two. If you're sitting there and it's 1975 or whatever, and you're recording yourself just singing and playing piano, that's what he did, then there's no way to say it's not a multi-track recording. There's no way to take it apart. But the technology came around to allow that to occur. Mm-hmm. So that is the most positive example that I can think of in this moment of machine learning. And by machine learning and AI are not the same exact term, but they're very, very similar. As I understand it, I could be wrong. Please forgive me if I misspeak. But that's the coolest bit of it to me. The scary bits are people are going to stop hiring actual musicians potentially, because they can get the machines to do it and not insist on fair wages. And I'm a proud member of the musicians union as I say this, and that's a discussion that we're having with the parent organization of the union as well right now, because it's got to be talked about. Otherwise, how are musicians going to have a say? And visual artists, I know, have gone through all of this, and in much more devastating ways than musicians have right now, more recently, because AI art is all over the place, and it's quite factually stealing from existing art that people have created and not given credit. And that's we've got to find a way to mitigate that. And I don't know what the answer is. I hope that we can come around to ways to engage with AI that don't cause harm and don't take away from someone's art putting food on the table. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
I love it.
Yeah. There's a lot of change coming and a lot of scary stuff. However, I will be buying a robot.
There's a lot of kick-ass stuff too. There's a lot of amazing stuff too, always.
Yeah. If it will do the dishes and the laundry, I will be buying a robot.
Yeah.
that's my requirements. Do we have any other questions?
Hang on just a second. Let's see.
I need everyone in the chat to agree with me that Draken has the best earrings ever.
Thank you. Let's see. We got. Just some comments. AI, ML. I don't know what ML is.
Machine learning, ML, machine learning.
Duh. You just said that. Are definitely related. Overall, as usual, you said it well. That's from Dale. And then we've got I'm Me says it's also learning to translate whales, but it's wrecking a lot of things because it isn't actually intelligent, which
Artificial intelligence is occasionally
what we feed it. So
or redundancy, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yeah, interesting. So I think that's wild.
Yeah,
It's a wild time we live in, considering, well, at least for Alexian and I, we didn't have the interwebs or cell phones when we were kids or in high school.
Yep.
To come this far,
I'm in that liminal generation between Gen X and the millennials. I occasionally it depends on which article you read at which time.
Yeah.
Like either I'm in the cutoff for the millennials or I'm not. I've released any attachment to it that I have. Things move a little slower where I grew up, so I claim either one really if I wanted to. But I did not have even dial-up internet until, and then it was only at school until I was a sophomore in a high school.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't have internet until I moved to Florida, so that would have been like in the 90s. 93, 94.
Yeah.
And then Pagan Music came along. We got that domain in 97. So, yeah. How things change. I just cleaned out my farmhouse and I brought the dial phone. You know, I love the sound.
It's so satisfying. So chunky. You can tell something's actually happening.
I brought it back. I couldn't leave it. I had to have it. I brought it back. So I find a place to put it.
That's a fidget, right? That can be a fidget. Now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Suj. But we aren't done with you yet. Okay. I'll be bringing you back on in just a minute for some fun. So,
Thank you.
Sit tight. Don't go away, okay? I'll have you right back. All right. Have you clicked that karma button yet? Hit that like button down below, subscribe, and ring the bell for a better chance to win the Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of the show, which is coming right up. And while you're at it, be a helper and share the show with your like-minded friends on your socials and help us spread the word. And that'll get you even more karma points. I can't talk because I'm eating a cough drop because of my cough. All right, let's talk about sponsors. I'll have you back too in a minute, Draken. All right. Sponsor our show. We're looking for pagan-minded businesses and services to support us. Please visit alexianmusic.com/sponsor for details. Your logo could be featured right there down below next month, just like paganmusic.com. Are you familiar with paganmusic.com? It's our website owned by Victor and myself. We've been supporting Pagan Music since 1993 when we started Earth Tone Studios and took it online in 97, like I just said a second ago, right? Excuse me. So this is the website. We now have over 30 years later, we have still several hundred items left in stock that we're liquidating. And some items have been in our store for so long they become collector's items. So our goal is to post, our goal is to sell out so that post liquidation, we can transform paganmusic.com into an informational website about pagan music and to continue supporting pagan recording artists across the world. Today, paganmusic.com is excited to donate a $25 cart coupon for the Arcane Treasures giveaway at the end of the show. So we hope it brings the winner some joyous pagan shopping. Also, alexianmusic.com, my own website, is a sponsor. And I'm not pressing the buttons to show. This are some of the items in paganmusic.com. This is my website, alexianmusic.com, where you'll find everything about my own musical recordings, my online I can't talk today. My online courses and the Cool Cats community. That's my own community where I do the Bonfire Bardic Circle weekly. We get together and we chant and we drum and we tell stories and all sorts of stuff. I also have a community Book of Shadows within the community where we're all sharing spells and rituals and recipes for different incenses and herbal blends. I also do a daily tarot card reading, a daily one card pool, and give a pre-recorded video about that. And we also have a lot of spiritual discussions. We do the Pentacle parties. I do songwriting classes. We have book swaps. We have meditations. I do so much within the community. And, you know, Draken can testify. She's one of the members. So join the fun and learn along the way with us. Today, I'm excited to offer a complimentary Rooted Kitten membership that's ongoing to the Cool Cats community in the giveaway at the end of the show. This $4 a month membership grants you access to the vibrant community. Both sponsors funded today's show, covering equipment, streaming software, and staff. Please support them as they have supported the show. All right, let's get back to the show. Yay. Welcome back. I told you you'd get back quickly.
Flawless.
So let me get rid of that and do that. It is time to have a little bit of fun. I want you, Suj, to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, something to write on. You can use your computer if you want to, but a writing utensil and a piece of paper. I'm going to ask you 3 random questions in our rapid fire section, and I want you to jot down some basic answers, and then you can explain yourself in detail after. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go. You have 1 minute. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? Question 2. What is your favorite element and why? What is your favorite element and why? And this one could be a little funky. Number 3, what's the most unusual talent you possess and how have you used it? What is the most unusual talent you possess and how have you used it? 2, 1. Time's up. Okay, here we go. Number 1, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
That was great. This is a 2-part answer. I would either choose, because of recent experiences and just real life good memories, the island of Crete in Greece or the Olympic Peninsula in Washington, because both places have transformed me in very ways. I got to visit Crete in 2022, and if I could put all of us on a plane and go back there today, I would do it.
I would love to
I want
visit Crete.
Same.
There's nowhere else as beautiful and welcoming in my personal experience. I recommend it highly. And once you know what Minoan ruins look like, you see them everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in people's backyards. The goats are climbing all over them. Once you know what to look for, they're all over the island. And there is a sea cave in the Libyan Sea, close to Lutro, off Marmara Beach and Phoenix Beach there on Crete that soul has set up house in. That is my cave. It is my sea cave. I snorkeled in there, and it had smooth, wonderful walls and different levels that looked like furniture. No kidding. And the whole floor of the thing was like a giant rock tumbler. There were so many pebbles that you could not take too many because it would have been impossible. So I snorkeled back to the beach with rocks in my sports bra, like you do. When you snorkel into a sea cave. But I'm like, yep, this is my cave now. I'm happy to share it with everyone else. I did the same thing with the Grand Canyon when I bought myself a trip to go see it for the first time. I'm like, this is mine now, because I gave it to myself for my birthday, but everyone else can have it too. You know, they taught us how to share it, and it stuck with me. What can I say? And the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, despite all of the recent wildfire troubles that part of the world has been having and is currently having, the Hoh rainforest and the wild coast are places I love and miss and have spent so much time in between concerts and spending many, many summers in the Pacific Northwest on tour. I can never get enough. I could never get enough. It's beautiful out there, and I love it, and I always will. And I would either want to live, I think I said this before, or someone say it again, in a tree house or in a sea cave. Probably not in a sea cave in Washington State, because that would be cold.
All right. Number 2, what is your favorite element and why?
Well, this is it's interesting how this is all tying together. But I chose water.
Water.
And not just because I am a big old Pisces over here, but because water is unstoppable. It has such subtle strength that you don't know what an agent of change it has been until you see the evidence of millions of years before your eyes. Water is change. Water is change, just like magic is change.
Every
And
millisecond.
you don't always see it in front of your face. That doesn't mean it's not happening.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I love that answer. Number 3, what's the most unusual talent you possess and how have you used it?
Well, do we want to go there yet? Is this the time where I mentioned the
Are we going to segue? Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and segue into the teaser reveal.
Okay.
If you remember at the beginning of the show, I said our guest today was raised by peacocks and became a mermaid. So tell us all about it.
Yep. I wrote down mermaiding. I wrote down mermaiding as my most unusual talent, even though that's become wild popular this decade, and I'm thrilled that is the case. There's a Netflix there's a whole thing called Mer People. I haven't even had time to sit down and watch it yet, but I'm connected in peripheral ways with folks on the internet who are in that Netflix thing, because my weird COVID hobby that I still given up was learning how to swim as a mermaid in a mermaid tail with a monofin on my feet.
Wow.
I have 2 friends from the festival world that perform professionally as mermaids. And I had talked myself out of trying the monofin, which is like swim fins, one bladed thing with 2 foot pockets in it. And you want to learn how to use one of those first before you put on what's referred to as a tailskin. And I don't do the big fancy professional silicone ones. I do the comfy fabric ones that are like putting on a big sock. Yeah. But it was one of the most natural things that I've ever experienced. I've always, since I was tiny, preferred to swim underwater instead of do the traditional strokes that swim teachers and college courses wanted me to do. I just wanted to be underwater. I wanted to swim that way. So putting on a monofin and tailskin felt super duper natural, similar to the way that lighting up to spin fire for the first time after I had practiced without fire for months and months and months. Felt super duper natural. I had no fear. It was moving meditation. Same when I'm in the water in a mermaid tail. And it's not something I feel the need to monetize for myself. There are plenty of people that are way better at that kind of thing than I am. I do it for me. And I'm looking forward to helping my son learn how. I've already gotten him a teeny tiny fin. And I said, okay, but you have to prove to mama
and he's fearless in the water. He's fearless, and because his grandparents have been amazing swim coaches for him, just because, and he just has taken to it. He's my water baby, and it made him to me that he would show Mama, he would prove to Mama that he could swim in just the fin first, and then we'd talk about trying on his tail. Proved to me that he could swim in the monofin, and we find out whether or not he has any problems with claustrophobia, because I don't recommend putting on a mermaid tail to anybody that has a claustrophobia problem. And I see, and I want you to take care of yourselves first and try it if it feels good. But the my life who are just that little bit claustrophobic, I said, do you want to try it anyway? And they've tried it and they were like, yeah, that was cool, but this is not for me. You know, pay attention to what your needs are. But it's a whole lot for me personally. And
how have you
it's
used
something
it?
that gives me a lot of joy and a lot of peace.
How have you used it? Do you just used it for personal enjoyment?
Well, just to show, well, it has given other people some enjoyment, namely my therapist, who decided to murder the coffee shop one day when she goes, so you're not only a mermaid, you're also a unicorn. And I was like, madam, you did not have to go that hard today.
That's hysterical.
So I have performed in a mermaid tail for some online shows because I did that as incentive. I was like, okay, if we sell 50 tickets for this thing, I promise I will do at least one song in a mermaid tail.
There
so
you
I
go.
picked one of my mermaidy type songs. I put on the tail. My long suffering husband helped me get the shot of me performing the song in my tail. I didn't fall into the lake. The dog didn't jump into my lap. Don't ask me how that all worked out, but it did. So yeah, technically this is a hobby. It also could be classified as a business expense. Yay.
There you go.
That is how you work it as an independent entrepreneur. People take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm on the road. I stopped at Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alexianmusic.com. Tuck it away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We should explain, I guess we should explain the Raised by Peacocks part of that.
Yes, absolutely.
If it's a true segue. So the fact that it is a fact that I was raised by peacocks because my mother's maiden name was in fact Peacock. So I can't ever use that as like the answer clue to my passwords because I talk about it all the time. I was in fact raised by peacocks. My uncles, my grandparents all had the last name Peacock. And the names in this family, y'all, I swear I'm not making it up. There was a gentleman of my great-grandmother's acquaintance whose last name was Swan. But the two of them did not remain close. So that's good news. It means we narrowly avoided a Swan Peacock wedding announcement in my family. And yes, I wrote a song about that too.
That would have been shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yep. So if I ever write and release a memoir about my family, I will have to call it Raised by Peacocks.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I do too.
So I just recently got a peacock sword feather on my forearm in honor of that image right there.
I love the peacock feathers. It's my favorite. They're like everywhere.
I have them on my altar. Our coven altar has peacock feathers on it.
Shout out to my tattoo artist. Her name is Cody Everidge, and her Instagram handle is Lunar Body Art. Please follow her. She's lovely.
Very cool. Well, we should start wrapping things up. It's time. You've waited. You've been patient. It is time for the Arcane Treasures giveaway drawing.
Yay.
But before we draw, it's your last chance for those karma points. Smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Okay, here you go. If you want to draw, put your name in the hat for the drawing. What you're going to do is you're going to type hashtag mermaid into the YouTube chat right now. Hashtag mermaid. And we have a little ticker to show you, just in case you forget.
There we go. Oops, here we go.
There it is. Hashtag mermaid. Type that in right now and begin. If you already did it, do it again because I hadn't clicked the button yet. So do it now. All right. You've got 1 minute
Come on.
to do that. Here we go. So someone is about to win the 2 download codes from SJ Tucker. They will also win the $25 shopping coupon for paganmusic.com, as well as a free ongoing membership to my community, Coven of Cool Cats, as well as, where did that magnet go? One of my Alexian Show magnets that you can use to hold up artwork on your refrigerator or something like that. So, you got 25 seconds. We've got 7 entries so far. There are 15 people watching. Come on. Put your hashtag mermaid into the slot. 8 people have entered now. Hashtag mermaid. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Okay. Here we go. Let me share that and we will do the drawing.
Almost done.
Are we seeing it?
Not yet.
There it is. Had to hit the right button. All right, here we go. Good luck, everyone. And the winner is Norwich PG. Congratulations, Norwich PG. You have won. Congrats. Please email me directly at lordalexian@gmail.com to claim your treasures. I want to express my heartfelt thank you to both my guests and my sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us and making this show special. If you haven't seen the first 5 episodes, they are available for replay, so go check them out and support those previous shows as well. Draken and I will be back next month with new guests. Have a wonderful, fabulous day. Lost blessings.